Premium account. We're going to remove that premium account. Hey, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We are live.
Live at Rick and Jeff Unfiltered. So we're going to make a couple of changes here, but we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance like we always do, right?
Yes, we are.
All right, ready?
Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, we are going to be talking about the assassination of Charles Trump. That was a mistake. Of Charlie Kirk. The assassination
Charlie
of Charlie Kirk. What's your hat you got on there, brother?
It has the Giants, Knicks, and Rangers on it, and it's the New York City skyline.
Gotcha. Pre or post 9/11? I can't see it, so must be
Post.
9/11, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah. So we're kind of in a somber mood still. I mean, it's been a few days, and I haven't really penned an idea or a statement or response because I'm still
First off, before we do anything, let's have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, if we may.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so
thank you, Jesus Christ, for being Charlie Kirk's Savior and Lord, for welcoming into your arms as one of the martyrs of the 21st century. It's kind of amazing to think that we are living in a time where in the United States of America, we can witness live a martyr, an assassination of a Christian being, a Christian uh, in the United States of America. It's amazing to me that we are entering this age. I mean, I've told my brother many times that I think I'll see the end times in my lifetime, and I think we are starting to see um, some of the beginnings of those birthing pains. We've seen a lot of them in the past, but I think this the Charlie Kirk example is a living example in your face of a martyr of Jesus Christ. That's my opinion.
Well, it's definitely evil that did this, and I was very disheartened for a couple of days. My wife says, you seem depressed. And I go, well, I guess I am. And I wasn't like a Charlie Kirk follower.
Right.
There are things I liked that he said, things I didn't like that he said. But I just find it very disheartening that someone can be killed for their point of view.
Right.
It seems crazy to me, and it is crazy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm feeling better today than I have about the whole situation. But they've caught a guy. Pretty sure that's the guy who did it, and I wonder. They got to look into his background and see his reasoning for doing it, because I think that's a big deal. We need to find out why. And I don't usually conspiracy theory, but I did have a small conspiracy theory about this, that maybe it wasn't this guy, just didn't like what he said. Maybe it's a bigger picture where people didn't like the result of what he was saying to the younger generation, because the left has had pretty much indoctrination of the younger generation in the colleges for many years now, and Charlie Kirk was a opposite to that, and he was making headway, bringing young people around so that they saw the truth in many things. I also hear people saying that Charlie Kirk spewed hate speech, and I have never seen him do it. I have seen him.
Never will.
I have seen him disagree vehemently with people and not back down on his beliefs.
Right.
But that is not violence in any way. All that is a disagreement, and it's not hurtful in any way. People who take that hurtful need to grow up and understand that people have differences of opinion. And this has been going on. We've talked about this many times before this, about how people politically correct bullcrap. And back in the day, back when it first started, it wasn't even called politically correct. It was called what they called before they called it politically correct. I can't remember, but it was back in the 90s this started, where people would, you can't say that, it's going to hurt somebody's feeling. Well, it's the truth. If it hurts their feelings, it's their problem, not mine. And I don't, and people, but you give everybody a trophy, and you can't hurt their feelings in safe spaces. We've got a generation that grew up and they're a bunch of pansy asses, is what they are. Anything can hurt them, and this is what this is. This guy, obviously, something.
I think we've gone past that. I don't think it's about I'm a pansy ass and I'm hurt. It's gone to the point where I don't like what you say, so therefore you're attacking me and
right, but that
of death. That's a totally different thing than being a pansy ass.
Well, no, it starts with being a pansy ass. You hurt my feelings, therefore you should be punished.
Right, but it's no longer hurt my feelings. You disagree with me, and I think that's the point we need to try to make. Is this is a disagreement with ideology, and because you have a disagreement with my ideology, I'm going to kill you.
Well, you're hurting my feelings because you disagree with, because I disagree with your ideology, and you're not going to back down. So the only way to stop you is to kill you.
I think it's more than that, though, Rick. I think because
well, you're right, but I think that's where it starts.
Just your feelings got hurt, you can move on, right? But
no, these people can't move on though, because they don't get their feelings hurt.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to say.
It's hate speech, is what they're calling it. Hate speech.
They're calling it hate speech, and they're saying that they're Hitler-esque, and then they follow it up with well, don't you think that if you were alive when Hitler was born and you knew that he's going to do what he's going to do, would you take him out? And the majority of people are like, oh yeah, I'd take him out. But the problem is that
you don't know what's going to happen, right?
You don't know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
And you're taking that ideology to an extreme to say, oh, I don't like Trump. He doesn't agree with me, so therefore we should take him out. We should get in their face and tell them you're not welcome here. We should say that you're not allowed here. That you aren't allowed to come onto this property because we've reserved this property for us. It's like this is not America. They're basically undermining the Constitution of the United States by saying that you no longer have a freedom of speech. Because you're spouting hate speech, and their hate speech is basically it's a disagreement with their ideology.
Right.
And they're considering that hate speech, and they think in their mind, well, because you disagree with my ideology, I should have a right to kill you. It's like, wait a minute. And just to be clear, how many riots and how many lootings occurred after the assassination of Charlie Kirk? None.
Zero.
None. There is worldwide privileges for the loss and the death and the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about U.S., we're not talking about Utah-wide or United States-wide or North America-wide. We're talking about worldwide.
Yeah,
South
worldwide.
Korea, Britain, they're having marches for justice for Charlie Kirk, right? This is I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but prior, a month ago, Charlie Kirk was over in Britain debating with these people.
Yes. I saw that actually.
What's the
Cambridge? Was it Cambridge?
Cambridge, yeah, Cambridge, and there's another one that was over there, right? It's like, so you have a guy who's on his own going into a school full of liberals who hate him to debate them, and he's not like arguing with him like, oh, you suck, you effing liar, you can't do this, you can't do that. He's like, oh, really? Well, why do you think that? Well, what about this? Oh, well, that doesn't really line up. Your answers aren't lining up. Do you want to change your answer on that, or do you?
Well, I saw the I think it was the Cambridge one, and the guy that was debating him actually did a pretty good job up until the end. He made some good points, and that's one thing Charlie Kirk does that I didn't like about him was when someone makes a good point, he changes the subject, and he you know what? One of his biggest thing is well, let me ask you a question after the person asked me. Well, let me ask you a question, and it kind of changes the subject. And that's one of the things he did I didn't agree with. But anyways, this guy,
I don't think that's the case, but I'm just gonna say I'm gonna lobby my disagreement.
I'm just saying that's one of the things I disagree with that he does.
And that's okay, but I don't
so,
think he does that. So
well, I'm sure he does it, but that's here neither here nor there. But anyways, this happened with this guy. He changed the subject. The guy was doing they were doing very good, both of them, back and forth. It was really good. And that happened. And changed the subject, and then the guy then they started going back and forth again, and then the guy just got mad and left. I don't remember if he called him a name and left or whatever, but he just got pissed and left. And that's eventually most of the time that I see the left's argument, that's when they have nothing left. And I've said this about many things. When you have nothing left, basically you start name calling. And I've said this to people that have called me names on Facebook. And that just shows me that my point is good and you've got nothing against it. If you're going to call me a name, you call me a name. I'm done.
right.
And that's what usually happens a lot of times. And I mean, the biggest one is with that I've seen with Charlie Kirk is what is a woman? Nobody can explain it. It's easy to explain, but nobody can explain because they don't want to give the real truth. And when he confronts them with facts, yeah, fuck you or whatever, and they walk away and whatever.
Right. He went to Oxford and Cambridge. Oxford and Cambridge was the one, and we talked about Oxford was the one I couldn't remember. But yeah, he went to those two. And in all reality, these things are bastions of education. Back in the day, they basically churned out really logical thinkers, right? Some really intelligent people. I think who was it? C.S. Lewis went to one of these places, and then the other guy that was friends with C.S. Lewis, the one that wrote Narnia or something like that. I don't remember. I think Narnia. I think C.S. Lewis wrote Narnia. I'm having a brain fart, and I apologize. But so there's two guys that went to college together, and they challenge each other in their learning and their skills and their knowledge and their writings, right? And they had the
Hey, Wayne Thayer's on. Hello, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne, how's it going? But they had the ability to have a conversation, and this is one of the reasons that my brother and I started this podcast in the first place.
Yes,
is so that because my brother doesn't have the same opinions. If you haven't,
and when we first started this, we had vastly different opinions.
Right.
Stuff. Yeah.
But even in the last 5 minutes, we don't have the same opinions.
Right.
It's like you have to learn how to have a conversation, communication, and there are many times in the past, and I regret this totally. But like after the watching the assassination of Charlie Kirk and watching a lot of the things that he did and a lot of his debates, I realized how wrong I've debated my brother and my family about things like this. My brother and I had a conversation the other day. We're talking about another family member and a statement that he made, and I got a little heated in my response to my brother, and as passionate as I was about what I was saying, I probably shouldn't have done it the way that I did. But it's like I still could have had the same passion, but not have been like dominating the conversation.
Steve Payton is on. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Rick. I hope all is well with you. Yes, it's pretty good, Steve. Hope
Steve
all
Payton?
is well with you. Steve's a retired postal worker.
A lot of those retired postal guys that you know nowadays, huh?
Yeah.
How many years you been retired now, brother?
Oh, coming up on what, 9 years?
Yeah.
9 years. Yep.
Yeah, good.
And loving it. I tell everybody, as soon as you can afford to retire, you should do it because it's freaking great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's retired. He works all the time. I think it's funny. But...
It's all vacation money, man. We do a lot of vacation.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And it gets me out of the house so I don't sit around the house all day doing nothing, watching TV and getting stupid on that,
Twiddling your thumbs or whatever, yeah. So
yeah,
I spent about too many hours this morning trying to solve a problem with trying to be able to watch the Giants. So it's like I'm probably just gonna break down and do it. But if I want to, I went to YouTube to watch a guy that talks about Apple AI and there's an advertisement there like, oh, you can get the NFL package for $34.95 a month for the next 8 months. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. Well, yeah, but that's after you spend $80 a month for YouTube TV.
Right.
So it's very misleading. I really hate that type of crap that drives me nuts, you know. And I was like, after spending 4 hours trying to figure out how to fix the thing that I'm trying to get so I could watch any NFL game on a program called what was it called? Anyway, I can't remember the name of the program.
I'll have to give you that what I do, and you can maybe hook that up.
I think I looked for that app. I couldn't find it. So
Dar Bennett is on. Hello, Dar.
hey, Dar, how's it going? Welcome. If you have any comments you want to make about Charlie Kirk and his assassination, you're more than welcome to. I just pray you keep it decent and civil. You don't have to agree with Charlie Kirk. My brother doesn't necessarily agree with all the things he said, and he's already said that. So, but like I said earlier, I think we witnessed one of the first martyrs of Jesus Christ in our lifetimes. So that's just my opinion. I mean, and the sad part is that in China and overseas, there's Christians being martyred every day for their faith, for their belief in Jesus Christ as their Savior and Lord. And 5 minutes before he was assassinated, he preached the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't know if people understand that or realize that. So he said, he talked about how the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is Savior and Lord, right? So, so he constantly in all of his debates talked about Jesus. I saw.
Oh, yeah, and he knows the Bible backward and forward, man. He does.
He's very, very intelligent in the Bible. Yeah. And I saw him debating with a woman who she had like purple hair, and she's overweight. And I'm not dissing on her. I'm overweight. Don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to say that she's bad in that way. She had a fan on her face, and she's talking to Charlie, and she thinks that. She says, well, are your beliefs on abortion based on your Christian beliefs? He goes, well, yes and no. He goes, I can argue against abortion in a historical point of view with nothing to do with my Christian faith. He goes, but I do have that belief in my Christian faith that I want to pursue eliminating abortion because I think it's wrong, right? And so he said, because I believe in the life at birth, or life at conception, that type of thing. But it was obviously that she struggled with it and with the Christianity. And he said at the end, he goes, obviously you have been offended by Christians in your life at some point in time, and I hope and pray that we will be able to get over that barrier, and you will be able to allow us to get over that barrier for the mistakes that we've made, because everyone needs to know who Jesus Christ is, that they can accept him as their Savior and Lord, right? Totally against him and what she's talking about. But he was like, look, I'm not here to condemn you. It's like, I was telling my brother this story earlier this week. I said, when you think about Jesus Christ and who he was, people are like, oh, well, he never condemned the sinner, and he always accepted the sin, and he never accepted the sin. People don't understand that. When they brought the adulterous woman before him, they're like, hey, the Bible says that she should be stoned to death. Come on, we got to stone her. What say you, Rabbi? What say you, man of God? And he bends down on his knees and he starts writing something to the ground. And I really wish I knew what he wrote. And he stands up and he says, all right, so whoever is without sin should throw the first stone. And everything got quiet, and all the people that brought this woman who was caught in adultery walked away. And he looks at her, he says, woman, where are your accusers? And she said, they're gone. He goes, neither do I accuse you, but go and sin no more. He didn't accept her sin as an ability to say it's okay. He said, no, I'm not accusing you, but stop sinning. Don't do it anymore, right? And people need to hear that. They need to understand that. And I've failed on the show, and I've failed in my relationship with my mom, with my sister, with my family, in many, many ways and many, many times, right? And it's sad to me when I think about it. I may have cost somebody wanting to have a relationship with Jesus Christ because of my sinful nature, and they're like, "Oh, look, that's what Christians are like." And I don't want to be a hindrance to somebody.
You hear that regularly, and it's you hear that people say that, oh, you're supposed to be a Christian, but you do this. Well, just because we're a Christian doesn't mean we don't sin. We
Right.
try not,
No,
and
we're all sinners that fall short of the glory of God.
yeah.
All of
I
us.
I
All of
mean,
us.
yes,
Me included. Me included.
yeah,
I'm saying that
everybody,
for me,
yeah. And then that's why he died on the cross to forgive us for our sins,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just you move on and you try not to do it again. That's all.
Yep.
You try to live a better life every time. You just and we're human, we're fallible, we do it, and we try not to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The Bible says that if you confess your sins, he is faithful and just and will forgive you. It doesn't say that you keep sinning. He says, "Oh wow, I sinned. I'm repenting of my sin, and I'm realizing that He forgave me of my sin. So I move on, and I don't do that sin anymore. And then when I do that sin again, which most of us will, hopefully not deliberately, but most of us will, then you say, "Okay, Lord, I am sorry. I repent. I sinned again." Repent means to turn away from a sin. So it's like if I'm if I use this example to my brother, and I don't know if you like the example, if you thought it was a good example, but if I decided that I just want to have sex with as many women as I can before I die, so I'm just going to start having adulterous affairs, right? And my brother's like, "Dude, you're sinning." Yeah, you're right. I'm sinning. I repent, Lord. I repent of my sin of adultery, and I go out tonight and I find another woman and have sex with her, right? And I continually do that, then obviously I'm not repenting from my sin because I'm continuing in my sin. The repentance comes when I say, "You know what, Lord, I am repenting from my sin and I'm no longer going to do that. I'm turning away from that idea and ideology and I'm going to a new direction." That's what repentance is turning away from a sin that you're involved in. And we all get caught in sin. So, we have to be realizing that, look, whatever it is, whatever it is, God can forgive you for it, right?
Right.
And then when you have that forgiveness and you receive that forgiveness, you need to realize that, look, I don't want to go that way anymore. I don't want to lead down that direction anymore. I don't want to walk down the corridor where all the women are hanging out and they're saying, "Hey, come on with me. My husband's gone away and the bed is all clean and we can have a sex for as many weeks as you want." That
Hmm.
that's what our Bible talks about. Old Testament, New Testament talks about having forgiveness of sin and maintaining the integrity and the holiness before God in what we do. And when I saw the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I realized, wow, I'm failing in so many ways in my walk as a Christian. I became a Christian in 1985, 1986, and I don't really have a whole lot to show for it, to be honest with you. I have a lot of friends that, um, when I grew up, as a Christian, and when I first went to church, went to Bible school, I talked to some of them still, but it's like, um, there's not a whole lot there, right? So, and there may be things that I've missed over the years that I don't recall because I never kept a record of people that I talked to about Jesus Christ or who I shared the gospel with and who I didn't share the gospel with. So I don't know what my reward is going to look like when I get to heaven. But I'm like, I'm still alive, so I can change that. I can add more to that. I can make it better.
Hey,
So,
so Dar put up a thing. It's not coming up on our screen here, but it came up on my
oh, read it. Let's read
Facebook
it.
page. That we're very sad about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was one of the best debates I've ever seen. He stated facts and was always so kind to those he debated. He always complimented people who debated in opposition when they did it respectfully. Sadly, many were very disrespectful. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the truth. I many times if someone just debated him back and forth and then they were done, he would say thank you and blah blah.
Yeah,
But like
thanks
she
for
said,
coming and
many
thanks for
times the people when hit with facts they couldn't would just go they f you and you suck and
right.
whatever and just run away. But
One of the greatest things that he did for the American nation was the turning point was going out to all the college campuses prior to the election in 2024, and he was
hmm
asking people, who are you voting for? And he'd be like, "Well, I'm voting for Kamala Harris." He'd be like, "Okay, so can you tell me one good thing she's done?" As and they're like, "Well, like ever?" And they're like, "Well, maybe when she was attorney general California. He's like, well, what? Name one good thing she did as the vice president. Well, I don't know. He's like, okay, so did she do a good job with the border? Well, that's not really her job because she's not really in charge of that. Well,
No, she was.
President Biden said she was in charge of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so they when they start realizing that they don't have anything, they're like, huh, that's interesting. I'm voting for a woman who the whole all the news media has been giving me all these accolades about how great she is, and I can't even repeat one of those. A and B, I look at it from my experience. I look at her and I'm like, what has she done, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I made the comment. I'm not going to repeat the comment, but when I happened to be in Florida when with visiting my mom and Rick and Kim and Nicole was there, and I think Dulcie might have been there. And they said, well, Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris as vice president, and they're like, well, what has she done? And I said, from my perspective, what I knew that she did as a California resident, right, which isn't a pretty thing. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much how she got her position, right? So
She
it's
sucked and effed her way to the top. That's what you
yeah,
said.
yeah. And the reality is she did,
Mm-hmm.
like Willie Brown, who she was having the affairs with, he was married, and she was trying to make her way to the top. He said there's never been a job that she isn't unwilling to raise her skirt for.
Right.
It's like, wow.
Well, and the thing is that the last two elections, when Biden ran and when Cruella ran, um, they're basically their platform was we're not Donald Trump. That was their
Right.
platform, and
Yeah.
the first time people fell for it. I'm not Donald Trump, blah blah blah, but then they see what happens when they weren't Donald Trump, and then they were like, no, we're not going to do that again, and um, like I said, I'm not a big Donald Trump fan. I don't think he's the devil, but I like a lot of things he's doing, and I think he's going to make our country better again. And I tell it, people, I get on about the tariffs. I said I've been wanting tariffs since the '90s, and nobody would do it. And I didn't call them tariffs back then. I called them taxes. Tax the stuff that's coming in here. That way, it'll be more feasible to make them here than to make them overseas. And I also say this: I say when those jobs went overseas, did that save the people money? No, it got the people who own the businesses richer. It didn't save us any money.
Right.
It might have saved us a little bit, but more than that, it got the people who run the businesses more money. That's what ended up being. And I think eventually, if the tariffs can keep going through, and they're fighting that in the court right now, that eventually we don't need all the jobs to come back, but let's get a lot of them back. Let's get half of them back. Because then it is more of a worldwide thing where we have, because our economy and our businesses, we can use that to do better things around the world. And
Right.
Donald Trump does that too. He says, we have our economy, and you want to do business with us, and you better do this. And Ross Perot talked about that back in the day.
I was just gonna bring that up.
But none of our politicians have thought about that. It's all, oh yeah, we can get things cheaper, so let's let them go overseas and make it, da 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 da. And we've lost millions and millions of manufacturing jobs over the last 30 years. It's crazy.
Who was running when he was running? It was it George
Bush, I think, wasn't it?
And
Bush and
who would have been a Democrat?
Democrat was that I can see his face. I can't
Al
think of it.
Gore? Wasn't Al Gore, was it?
No, it was before Al Gore. It was
so that would have been who would that have been?
oh, what the guy
Joe
Dukakis, was that his name?
maybe,
Dukakis?
Yeah, probably Dukakis.
Yeah, I think it was Dukakis.
So that would have been the first time that Bush ran. So that
Yes.
was after Clinton's 8 years then, or was it before Clinton?
No, it was before Clinton.
So that was Bush Senior then.
Yes, Bush Senior.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think that was Dukakis who was running.
Yeah.
Or no, it would have been Clinton because Clinton was the one that won that race. It was Bill Clinton. So that was
Okay,
well,
so maybe it was
if
Clinton's
the
first
second
term.
Yeah, if it's the second term of
Bush.
Bush Senior.
Yes, but he
because-
lost.
Yeah, so I think that's when, because I think during the first term it was just assumed that Bush Senior was going to take over for Ronald Reagan. So, but I
Right.
think in the middle of his 4 years was when Ross Perot came out and said, "Look, these guys are basically sending all of our jobs overseas, and all you're going to
Yeah.
hear is the big sucking sound of all our jobs leaving this country."
Yeah.
Right. And and I wanted to vote for. I did vote for Ross Perot.
I did
I
too.
believe, yeah. So because I'm like, we need a businessman in our country. I mean, so this would have been what
1990,
88,
88. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 88. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because I think Reagan's first win was in 1980, wasn't it? No, 82. Because I voted for him in 82.
82. Yes. Yeah.
So it
Because
would have been
it was right
92.
after I went in the military. I
It would
remember
have
that.
been 90. You're right. It would have been 90. So, um, so the even then I was like, watching how Reagan ran our country, realizing that there need to be some change. You had a guy who was outside of politics. I mean, he was the governor of California for a while. That's why he probably won California. This was before California went total liberal and started voting, rigging elections, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
uh, at that point in time, I realized, you know what, we need to have. I mean, because I was seeing things in the military that made no sense to me. That we had in the dorms in Alaska, we had um, two guys in a room, a hallway, a bathroom, and then two guys in a room on the other way, right? So we had
Mm-hmm.
four guys sharing one bathroom with a hallway in between them. And the guy that was in the other room, he had a sign on the wall that was all the nations that owed us money, right? That we had loaned money to get on their
Yes.
feet, to get their governments running and stuff, and they never paid us back, right?
Loaned them money.
Yeah, we loaned them money and we never got it back. And it was like, wait a minute, we need to have a businessman in our leadership in our country, because we need to have somebody who's going to be able to look at it and say, look, this is what our expenses are, this is what our income is, and oh, by the way, we have all this debt that people owe us. We should be getting that back.
Right.
Beating on my mic here, so
Yeah.
because my hands are getting too flaily. So, but we have all this, we have all this money that's owed to us. We should be getting it back, right? We need a businessman in the office to say, look, we don't. It's not a. We still have to follow the Constitution because we are a constitutional republic, right?
Right.
But it's like you have to have somebody there with business sense, and the founders of our country had that. These were men who had their own businesses. They were running their own businesses when they came into our government to run our government. They weren't running it like roughshod, like, hey, how much money can we collect from the taxpayers? Because, oh, by the way, they didn't have taxes back then. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna waste it on all the stuff that they're wasting on, right? This is where all the money came to build Washington in the first place, right? Washington was basically a swamp when George Washington was the first president of the United States of America, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when
Well, wasn't the first capital New York City? And they decided they should change it because they needed something more in the middle of instead of like up north, they needed something more in the middle or something like that.
I think it was more Philadelphia, but
maybe Philadelphia. Yeah,
I'm
I don't know.
not sure. Don't quote me on that because somebody's.
I'm gonna chat GPT it. I'll let you know.
Ignorant asshole doesn't know what he's talking about because he doesn't know his history. Well, I would thank Windsor High School for that and my lack of ability to learn history at that time. When I went back to college at Cuesta College in San Luis Obispo, California, had a history teacher there was passionate about history, and I fell in love with history. So unfortunately, I was a little older at that point in time, and didn't. I had one semester, so I learned a lot in one semester. I loved it. There's a lot of things about our country and about our nation that are amazing. That's one of the things about Charlie Kirk that made him amazing. Is he came from a family of men who were steeped in the history of the United States of America, in military, in government, in everything. Right, so he had a huge background, a huge upbringing, knowing the Constitution of the United States, knowing that we are a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. People don't understand that, and it's bugged me for so long to say, "Oh, that's a Democratic Party." No, they're the party of Democrats. They're not a Democratic Party. They're no more. I mean, if you really want to know if they're a Democratic Party, look how they voted for Kamala Harris to become the presidential nominee. That's very Democratic.
Oh yeah, that
right. That's
yeah
so
that
democratic.
just
There was no democracy in that at all.
right.
So, and you look at
Yeah, and to be honest though, I don't know what the real answer was there because they had already gone through the thing. Joe Biden had gotten all the votes, and then he decided to drop. He decided to drop out.
They could have done it again.
Yeah,
They could have had another.
Maybe. I mean, it would have been tough. I don't know what the right answer is there. I don't agree with the way they did it. I think they could have done something else, other than just handpicking her. Basically, there could have been other ways to do it, but
Here's a thought.
I think holding a whole new preliminary whatever. I'm not sure that. Hang on, let me for the capital thing here
Go
first.
ahead. Yeah,
After the U.S. Constitution was ratified, New York City served as the capital from 1789 to 1790. George Washington took the oath there as president on April 30th, 1789, at Federal Hall on Wall Street. In 1790, the capital was moved to Philadelphia, where it remained until 1800, when Washington, D.C. became the permanent capital.
Right.
So Philadelphia and Washington, or New York, started in New York, went to Philadelphia, then to Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was something I started to say, and I forgot what it was. I had to bring
It was about the how they picked Cruella.
Oh. So here's a thought, right? So you say that Joe Biden's running.
Kathy Bennett is watching. Hello,
Hi,
Kathy.
Kathy. Hi, sweetie. How's it going? Have a safe drive home, sweetie. She's on her way home.
Okay.
So you say that she might be listening in the garage for all I know. Not in the parking structure at the Disneyland. I don't know if she's driving or not. So either way is okay. Doesn't matter. But you say that we couldn't have had another primary thing for the Democratic Party, right? So here's the thought.
Well, I'm not sure if they could have or not, because they didn't. So how would it have worked? So I don't know what the answer was. I don't think they did what they did wasn't the answer though.
Right. I'm not arguing for that or against that, but here's the thought. You picked your horse and he died. You lose. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean,
you can't
then she screwed up.
Joe Biden's suddenly a basket case. We gotta find somebody to take his place. You know what? You all
suddenly a basket case
pushed him to the podium to run for another 4 years. So you know what?
Yeah, well, we talked about that forever.
But that's the guy that they should have went with, right? And he failed miserably on the first debate. You know what that means? He's gonna lose. Sorry.
Yeah.
You picked him.
So now we'll get rid of him.
Yeah. So honestly, should they have redone a primary or anything like that? No, I don't think they should have. I think they had their chance. They blew it. And Robin Hicks. Hello, Robin Hicks.
Robin Hicks. Love your topic tonight. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. Yes.
But, it's like you had your chance and you blew it. So you don't get a second chance till 4 more years. So that's the way our Constitution's written. But you're not a constitutional republic believing person. So you're going to say, well, that's not fair because I didn't get my way because my guy's not going to win. So
and that seems to me like how the Democrats have been going for a while. Like I had a conversation with our sister today, and I just said, the Democrats right now, I don't even recognize them from when I used to, like 10, 15 years ago. I don't even recognize them anymore the way they've gone. And pretty much since Obama was in, they started going down that road. And it seemed like they were trying to pick who was going to win instead of letting the people pick it. And this has been going on for a while. Might even happen with Obama, but I think it may have started after him. But for sure, Hillary was picked. They rigged. There were some shenanigans there to make sure
Bernie Sanders,
make sure Bernie Sanders didn't get in there, and she got in there. And then when she lost, they claimed foul, and they said it was rigged.
Trump didn't win the election. It was a rigged election.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and it wasn't a good election. And then the next one came around, and they got rid of Bernie again, and put Biden in there. And then they had Biden, and they got rid of him and put Cruella in there without even having anybody vote. At least the other people voted, but they rigged it so that the votes were going to be for who they wanted, instead of just letting it happen the way
It's not about the people. Hey, honey, I got to take just a moment here, Rick. Can you hear me better now, honey? Does my mic sound better? My wife.
You sound good to me, brother. I don't know.
My wife texted me, said that she couldn't hear my mic. My wife texted me and couldn't hear my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. So
no, I think you sound fine, but if I'm right on the podcast, so I don't know.
Right, and the headsets are blowing right in your ears, so it's all the same thing. So But anyway, the problem is that's the way they've always been doing it. And the Republicans did the same thing. And I've told you this many times before. I was sick when Donald Trump sat on the stage with 17 other Republicans. I'm like, I got 4 candidates, and none of them are who they want to be. They wanted Jeb Bush to be the next president of the United States.
Right, but so that means they didn't do it.
Times. Right,
because
but
that was, I was just gonna say they didn't do it because they didn't want Trump to be their nominee. They wanted
you're
Jeb
right.
Bush, and they want
You're right. But the problem is that American people had enough of it, right? I told
yes,
you this before. I can go all the way back to when Clinton won, he's running against George Bush Sr. They wanted George Bush to get another 4 years, but he screwed himself up because he said no new taxes, right? No new taxes, read my lips, no new
and then he got
taxes,
new tax.
and then he taxed us, right? So I'm moving my mic a little closer so maybe my wife can hear
So
me.
Robin
So
says
he
she
said,
can hear you the same as me. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, good. Must be my wife's car phone or something like that. Anyway, so then that was the first Clinton loss to Clinton, right? So then who did they put
mhm.
up next? Ross Perot. I'm like Ross Perot. Or not? No, not.
No, was
It was the army, the military dude that had the limp arm. What was his name?
McCain.
Uh, no, it was before McCain.
Oh,
Uh,
um,
what was his name?
I see his
Great.
face. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, Bob Dole. Bob Dole.
Bob Dole. Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
So
Yep.
Bob Dole was the next candidate. I'm like, who the hell is Bob Dole? Where did Bob Dole come from? Right. And this is when I started realizing that they're picking the candidate for us. We're not picking the candidate. They're like, this is the guy we want, so this is the guy that's going to go there,
Well,
right? Not a whole lot of
yeah,
Republican debate to get that guy in there. Just we're going to put Bob Dole against Bill Clinton, right? And
yeah.
then when Bill Clinton won,
Well, they
uh,
did have a primary for that, and he did. But the problem is this: if they choose Bob Dole, then they put most of their money behind Bob Dole, and
right,
the other people don't get the money. And we all
right,
know money wins elections for the most part.
right.
You know, but
So then we got Al
except for
Gore,
when
who
Corella spends 1.5 billion. You
right,
know.
yeah. Well, then we got Al Gore, who's running against Al Gore, George Bush Jr. Right, because that's the
Yep.
next one in line. We missed it on Dole,
That
so
was
we were
another one
getting
that the
Bush,
Democrats
right?
said that they didn't lose, but they lost.
Yeah. So then we
Hmm.
had Bush again. We had Bush for 8 years, and at the end of Bush, who did we have? We had what was the guy's name? The guy from Massachusetts. Just lost all the feed. Who's the mayor from the governor from Massachusetts? Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney,
Mitt
right? Mitt
Romney.
Romney's the guy that's gonna run. Or no, no, it wasn't Mitt Romney. It was um, it was John McCain. John McCain was the
No,
first
John
one in
McCain was
line.
after Mitt Romney.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because John McCain was
After the
Obama's
first 4 years of
second one.
yeah, all right, yeah. So it was Mitt Romney, and they're like, oh, Mitt Romney. I'm like, who's Mitt Romney? We're oh well, he did basically the Obamacare ask in Massachusetts. I'm like, well, we don't like Obamacare, so why would we want this guy to be our next president? It doesn't make any
Well,
sense,
they didn't
right?
have Obamacare yet, though,
But
because he
that
was the
that
first. He was the first Obama. He was the first Obama one.
right, but no. So then McCain must have been the one who ran first then, because
No, McCain ran second.
I remember Mitt
Oh, yeah.
Romney already made him Obamacare in Massachusetts, so they're like, "Oh, this is going to be great." So you have to look that up. I think it was McCain. I
I'm,
think McCain ran first, and McCain refused. Yeah, it was because they had a debate at Saddleback Church. John McCain and Barack Obama sat in a debate at Saddleback Church with Rick Warren. That was the first debate, the first time that the black man was running for president, right? And John McCain refused to call him by his name, Barack Hussein Obama, because they didn't want to offend him and they didn't want to have anybody thinking he was a Muslim guy because he was a Muslim. He is a Muslim. He still is a Muslim, right? So that was
he's not
John
a Muslim.
McCain. You can argue
We've
with
had
me
this
all you want
discussion
about that.
before. We've had this discussion before.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not a Muslim.
Well, you can say that if you want. I disagree.
Mitt
So
Romney ran for
anyway,
president in 2008 and 2012. It says
but who ran against John? Who
2008.
ran?
He competed for, and John McCain beat him in 2008.
Yeah,
And then
yep.
so they ran against each other, and John McCain won. Then in 2012, he was the Republican nominee.
Right. So John McCain
Okay.
was running against Barack Obama. Barack Obama wins. He passes Obamacare. Mitt Romney runs again in the reelection campaign of Barack Obama, and people are praising him because he passed Obamacare in Massachusetts. I'm like, well, we're already complaining that we don't like Obamacare, so why would we want to have another guy who wants Obamacare? I thought we are trying to get rid of Obamacare, right? And so then Mitt Romney was the one, and then when Barack Obama was at the end of his term, he termed out, even though everyone said, "Oh, he should run for another term," and nobody seemed to have a problem with saying that Barack Obama should run for a third term. But anyway, I digress.
Well,
So,
I wouldn't go down. So here's what it says: Barack Obama is a Christian. Specifically, he was associated with the United Church of Christ for many years and has publicly spoken about his Christian faith on numerous occasions. Where the confusion comes in: his father, Barack Obama Sr., was born Muslim but later became more secular. Obama spent part of his childhood in Indonesia, a majority Muslim country, which led to false assumptions. So,
yep. So the pastor of that church he went to said, "God damn America," not "God bless America," but "God damn America." So I don't think that's a Christian church. So you can call it what you want. That is not a Christian church, in my opinion. So, look, I'm just
I don't tell you, it's a Christian church. You may not think it's a Christian church, but it says it's a Christian church. It runs as a Christian church. You may not like to say "goddamn America." I don't know. I don't know the context of that. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying. I'm just saying
So,
that's what this says right
and
here.
and Barack Obama did more for the Muslim community than ever, but he did kill a lot of Muslims, which I think was kind of fascinating. He was one of the biggest warmongers in the history of our presidencies. He killed
Well,
more people. He exported more illegal immigrants than Trump has done. And nobody complained
that was
about
one of
it
the things
then.
I really disliked about Obama was the fact that he was apologizing to Muslim countries
yeah,
for
because he's a Muslim.
things that we had done in the no, he's not a Muslim, but things that we had done in the past as a country, and we
Agree
owe
to
you an
disagree.
apology. And the things that he was apologizing for, I was thinking, no, we don't owe apologies for that. That's just crazy.
Right.
And then, of course, we know he gave them the pallet of money and for whatever,
$1 billion in
and
cash.
and
Nothing wrong with that.
he got
Given
he
to
got a deal
Iran.
with Iran, so Iran would eventually get a nuclear bomb. But whatever, you know. I'm not going to say he didn't like. I just think he's a very weak president in general, and that includes everybody, the Muslim countries and the other countries. He was a very weak president. He didn't lead with strength. He led with weakness, and I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for that because I know some people who think he was the greatest president ever, and I just look at him and go, I don't know what to tell you. You know,
Well,
and I always point to the deficit when he left, but then every president since then has been saying, "Hold my beer," and we'll just keep raising it anyway. So I don't know what the freak is going on there, but
yeah,
whatever.
I don't know what the solution is for that either. It does seem like, and you know my opinion on this, whether it's Republican or Democrat, they don't seem to have a problem with spending more money.
Yeah.
So, but it's like,
And I will say
how do we
this.
fix it? So,
I will say this. Trump is trying something different.
yeah.
Okay. Don't know if it's going to work, but at least it's different.
Right.
We're $38 trillion in debt now. I think it just went to 38.
That sounds about right.
I'll look it up here in a second, but yeah. So it's still going up, but there's some other things in play here, which I think if they work out, it could start bringing it down. Tariffs is one of them. We're getting money for tariffs. If they put that towards the debt, that'd be great. I don't want a check from it like they were talking about with all the savings they're going to save. Send everybody a check, blah blah blah. No, put it towards the debt. I don't want a check. Put it towards the debt. So let's see. We're going to find out within the next 3 years whether this shit works or not. And like I told my brother, they passed the big beautiful bill, and they own everything that happens now, as far as I'm concerned. Good or bad, they own it.
No,
If
I agree.
things go good, they own it. If things go bad, they own it. They have to. They won't, but they have to.
Well, see, here's the thing I'm not really understanding about the big beautiful bill. It seems like people are already talking about having to pass a continuing resolution bill at the end of this year. So if we had a big beautiful bill to pass a budget at the beginning of the year, why would we need to pass a continuing resolution bill at the end of the year? I'm kind of confused about that. You heard anything about that?
Well, in September it went to 37 trillion, not 38 trillion. I kind of get that. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I understand what they're trying to do. They don't want to have to keep coming back because these things that they say are going to happen, which I think may happen, but like I said, I don't know, but are going to take time. So the debt's
Right.
not going to immediately start coming down, but it better start coming down pretty soon. Otherwise,
Well,
you know, we're just
you
F,
did
you
get
know.
$3 to $5 trillion investment into this country from other organizations.
Actually, I think it's
So
more than that of promised investment, but I
right,
want to see it. You know, I want
right,
to see it.
right.
I think a good thing, a really good thing, is the no tax on your insurance on your vehicle if you bought it if it was made in America.
Right.
I think that's going to make a lot of people buy. And like I know Kias are made in Georgia, some of them.
Right.
Chevy, Dodge, you know,
Well,
GMC,
my
Ford.
Tacoma
They're all
pickup
made
truck
in.
is made in Texas, so
Most of them are made in America.
yeah,
You know, but that's
they're
going to make a
assembled.
big deal.
They're assembled in America.
That's right. Yeah, they're getting their parts
Assembled
from
in
Mexico and Canada. But yeah,
Yeah. So
um, yeah. So let's see how that works out. And like I said, if we get more jobs back here, if we get, yeah, excuse me, if we get more of these jobs back in our country, those would be more people paying taxes, buying things. So, and you know, I just hope it works out the way I think it should. The problem I see is this: we are giving so many people free money
right.
that they don't want to work. So, will we have enough people to fill these jobs? Because we have all these people who are getting free money that don't want to work, and we know from
Well,
experience that doesn't usually work out well.
right.
When
Part
COVID, they
part of
gave
it
everybody an extra $600. They just didn't go back to work. You know.
Part of the issue, though, really is being resolved by exporting or deporting all of these illegal aliens because the workforce isn't there anymore. So there are factories who the ICE comes in, they deport a bunch of workers, and the next day they have a long line of people that are applying for jobs at the place, right?
Well,
Americans that are
that's
applying
great
for
if that's
jobs,
happening.
right?
That's
So
great if that's actually happening. And we know that they probably weren't paying those workers what they should be paying them. Well,
right.
pretty sure they weren't. You know.
Well, I mean, I have a friend who owns a pizzeria here in Orange County, right?
Hmm.
I'm not going to mention his name. Not going to mention his pizzeria. I probably have in the past. You go back and look at it if you really want to. Real nice guy. I
Oh, if
asked
I
him one
could
day.
think
I
of it,
said,
I'd tell you what it was, but I
"Yeah."
can't think of it.
I asked him one day. I said, "So are all of your workers legal?" He said, "Look, all I can tell you is they gave me legal documentation. I gave it to my accountant. And they said it's good. That's all I can
Yeah.
tell you, right?"
Well, I know
So
when I got a part-time job after I retired, I got one at Walmart, I got one at Tractor Supply, and I got one at Lowe's when I moved here
mhm.
for a little while. They all made me give documents saying to prove that I was
But what
a
did you
legal
have to give
citizen.
though? What did you have to give? Because
Uh,
I don't know. I haven't done that in so long. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a
Social security card.
birth certificate, social security card. There was a bunch of things you could use, and you had to have two of them, I think. Social
Right.
security card, birth certificate, uh, military ID, I think worked,
Mm,
driver's license, passport,
right.
things like that. And I think birth certificate you had to have. I think that was one of them you had to have.
Okay.
But no, because you could be a legal citizen without a birth certificate. So maybe that wasn't one of the things you had to have. But yeah, you had to have two of those or three of those. I don't remember what it was, but yeah,
Right.
those people they they would not hire you until you prove that you were an American citizen.
Right. And that's the way it should be, in my opinion, right?
Yes, yes.
But then you have these factories that they're
They're
making
not
chickens, or
sweatshops.
they're growing chickens or whatever you want to call them. It's like they're going in there and they're all these people running and fleeing for their lives because like ICE is showing up. It's like so obviously they know they're not here legally, right? And
Right.
obviously the owners must have known that they weren't there legally because they probably weren't having to pay the living wage, but it's like, along those lines, though, in the state of California, they made the minimum wage for fast food workers like $15 or $18 an hour. I forgot what it is right now, but it's like,
It's going to go
and
to 20 by 2028, I
what's
think it
going
was.
on?
Something like
And basically, um, they let go a lot of people. They start putting
that.
in
Yes.
kiosks. So like, well, we don't have to hire these people anymore. So did you lose internet on your side? It seems like I just lost internet feed on my side
No, I don't think I did. Let me look.
because both cameras dropped out on my browser.
I have internet.
So,
It says.
yeah, I have internet too, but both cameras dropped out from the feed, like they went to
Oh
spin the
wait.
wheel of death.
Oh, you know what? It's hooked up to my phone. Wonder why that is.
You lost internet connection. Let's see. Yeah, so I have a hardwired connection, so I don't know why it's causing a problem. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of things going on in our country right now. Did you freeze? Are you wow, you're my brother is no longer with us.
Okay, there we are. Holy mackerel!
There he
That was,
is. He's live again. Wow. I'm like, you're like this.
yeah.
I'm like, is your feet gone? You're not moving. I'm like, all right, my brother is no longer with us.
I have left the building. Yes,
He's
sir.
left the building. Yeah. So we are living
Tim
in
Smith is
interesting
watching.
times.
Hello, Bubba. How you doing,
Hello,
brother?
Tim. How's it going? So we are living in interesting times. You know, there's I think there's gonna be, I don't know if you heard Charlie Kirk's wife talk a couple of days ago. Like
I
she
did.
gave
Yeah.
her, oh my gosh. Like I was in tears listening to her talk about her husband and how much he loved America and he loved her and he loved the kids and he loved President Trump and he loved everyone. I was like, wow, you know, and she's like, this turning point is not going away. It's going to
Right.
grow. She goes, I see it's going to explode. They've already had over 18,000 requests for new turning point organizations from schools. Think about that.
That's
Since
worldwide.
Charlie,
And
no,
you know.
no, that's in the U.S. That's in the U.S.
Oh, I thought it was
18,000
worldwide.
U.S. alone.
Because
No,
because you know how many they had before?
how many?
Like
They had like
I think they said
7,000, I think.
9,000 schools and 2,000 something else, or maybe it was 7,000, 2,000, maybe 9,000 total. Yeah, now they get
Something, yeah.
18,000 new requests. Yeah.
New requests.
Yeah, so
So-
yeah, truly is a martyr. And if this keeps going the way it looks like it might go, it may just exacerbate what this idiot didn't like. It's going to make it bigger and better.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is we all need to be involved. I mean, my brother and I decided we wanted to do this podcast and we have like 7 followers or something like that.
At least 7,
and,
you know.
And I'm not complaining. Don't misunderstand.
Sometimes we get double digits, brother.
Yeah, but and again, I'm not complaining, but it's like, you know what? It's like we need to be more involved in our communities. We need to be involved in these people's lives because the next generation, your kids and their kids, not that your kids have any kids, and I apologize for that, not really saying that, but these are the ones that are going to be running our nation soon. We need to be making sure that they have the knowledge and wisdom and ability to do it, right?
Yeah.
And the desire to do it, right? And if we're not really touting the greatness of our country, they're going to say, "Oh, America sucks."
That's another thing that the Democrats don't do. They talk down our country. They do. They talk down our country.
Yeah.
And I have relatives that say, "Oh, this country's not that great."
Right.
Really?
And you know what
Really?
I say? Where are you going to go for the worst country in the world? Why are you still living here?
Yeah.
Right.
Tim Smith says, "Good show, man." And
Hey.
so
Yeah.
where are you going to go?
Yeah, and the reality is they're not going to go anywhere, right?
Right.
Rosie O'Donnell actually lived by her word, and she moved to Ireland, right?
Second time though, not the first time.
Well, yeah, it's true, but she may be regretting it now because I don't think Ireland likes her anyway. And I heard that what's that? The MMA guy that was a kicking ass from Ireland. What's his name? You know the
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor's running for the prime minister over there in Ireland.
There you go. Rosie will like that, won't she? Yeah,
I'm sure she will. But
yeah,
the thing is, I mean, there's so much going on around our country. I mean, and around the world. Like Britain, if you've seen any of the news on Britain, Britain is marching in the streets because they're fed up with the immigration, the forced immigration of Muslims into their country from the EU. They basically separated themselves from the EU, and they're basically saying, no, what? No, these guys aren't welcome here, right? And there's people that are putting up British flags in their front yard, and guys are coming by with ladders to tear them down. Like, what are you doing? White guys coming by to tear down a British flag in Britain, right? Well, I think he's like,
so
that's
my
flag.
Something that's going on over there, right? Is they're putting people in jail over there for putting stuff on Facebook that they don't like.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's going to change because I mean, and this is the thing that people don't understand in America that isn't around the world. People don't have the freedom of speech that we have in America around the rest of the world. They don't have it, right? I mean, if even in our show, the little we've talked about this show, this could get us banned from Facebook in Europe, right? They could
Oh,
come knocking on
I
our
got
door
I
and
got
arrest
banned from
us.
TikTok, and I'm pretty
Right.
sure I got banned from TikTok because I said something we haven't said yet tonight. Anywhere but China.
Anywhere but China. Yeah.
Anywhere but China. That's what we think, and that
Because
I'm not going to stop
we
thinking it. But
as difficult as it is to try to get something made in America, we need to get something made in America. And I
yeah,
was thinking about this the other day. There's this thing that there's a organization I follow on Instagram. It's called Made In, right? And they
hmm
always have this steel, seasoned steel, stainless steel cooking pan, right? You can put it on your stove in the house, you put it on your grill outside, blah blah. Well, I started seeing this one that's made in America. It's it's thicker, it's heavier, and it's cheaper. So you know what one I'm going to buy? Because the one that's in the made in is coming from Italy, right? Why do
yeah,
I want to buy something from Italy when I can buy it made in America? I'm going to buy one made in America. Why not? When I can buy something that's made in America, I want to buy it made in America. I don't want to buy it made in China. You know,
right.
I
It's
was
like
telling my go ahead.
I don't know if you know the Lodge Pot. You know who you know what
Yeah,
Lodge Pot is?
yeah, that's
So-
Tennessee.
Yeah, well they're in Chattanooga. No, I can't think of the name of it. And it's south of Knoxville. I can't think of the name. But anyways, that's where they're made here in Tennessee. And
Right.
my relative, their family owned the business. But my point wasn't that. My point was this: if you go to Walmart, they sell them both. They sell that pot and they sell another cast iron, whatever. Yeah, look at them. The ones made in here are more expensive, but they're much better.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
so much better. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And this is what the thing is with the steel made, right? The steel made is lighter than cast iron, but it cooks better than cast iron, right?
hmm
Because it's a surface. I mean, when I worked at Jam's Eatery, which is kind of like a Del Taco, you may not know what that is either in the East Coast, but
I've
it's
heard of it.
basically it's a burger slash taco joint all in one, right? So
hmm
they have a big grill you can cook burgers on, and they have a taco bar where you have the meat and the cheese. You mix up burgers and burritos and all that stuff, right? But that grill that you cook those burgers on is like a flat metal grill, right? A
Yeah,
stainless steel grill, right? So
yeah,
that thing gets really dirty when you're flipping burgers. You throw some ice on there, you scrape it off, it's clean as new, right?
yeah,
Really easy to clean. So it's like I'm thinking about getting one of those that'll cover my whole stove in the kitchen. And it's made in
yeah,
America, right? And it has
yeah.
a little drain catch so that you can scrape everything through the holes into the drain catch, Um, because I
So
just
I
like
want
that
so
idea.
so
Go ahead.
cleaning that. I've seen this on Facebook. There's these guys that in America they make this cleaning pad. Comes
Yep.
on a handle. You
Yep.
put it in water and it steam cleans your thing.
Yeah,
Might want to think of that.
that's for like your grill outside. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it'll work on that too, though.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Yeah.
Because I've used these before, basically when they're hot and you're ready, you're done, ready to clean it. You throw like ice on it and you let the ice melt and you scrape it down. Basically
hmm
cleans it right down to
Yeah.
the metal again, and you're
hmm
good to go. You have a nice clean stove again. So, but that's just a thought because again, it can be made in America. I'll look up the guy with the cleaning cloth because you might as well have something like that too. There's no reason you shouldn't have something like that made in America that you clean your grill with. You know, but
hmm
we need to look for these things, people. We need to look for things that are made in America. We need to look for ways that we can promote America, that we can talk about how great of a country we are. If you've ever driven around our country, you can see how great America is, right? I live in California, 6 miles from, or 6 hours from where I live. I wish it was 6 miles. 6 hours from where I live is Yosemite National Park. If you've never been to Yosemite National Park, I highly recommend it, right? It's a
Yeah.
beautiful place. It's a lot more beautiful than Disneyland, and my wife works
hmm
at Disneyland. So I'm just saying, I'm not dissing on Disneyland, but I'm just saying if you ever come to California, that's a place that you should go. You should go to
Yeah.
Yosemite. In fact, we have
It's
friends coming
beautiful.
down next week. We have friends Doug and Dana are coming down next week. We
Mhm.
should I'm gonna see if I can get them up to Yosemite.
Yeah,
These
we
people
went up
there
there.
dead.
Me and mom were out there to visit. We went
Yeah,
up there to
yeah, we
Yosemite.
went out
Yeah,
there.
it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's but again, poor mom can't, no smoking indoors at Yosemite, and people didn't like it when you're smoking outdoors either. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
but it is what it is, but it's like, and I've driven to Idaho many times. I love Idaho. Idaho. I have friends that live in Idaho. My daughter lives in Salem, Oregon. Right. I have another friend, Jerry and Grethel Alden. They live in Silverton, Oregon, which is right up out, east of Salem. Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing up there. Right. And when you go north of Salem onto where the Columbia River is, driving
Hmm.
along the Columbia River, I mean, they have like 4 or 5 power plants on the Columbia River within about 15 miles of each other. It's like,
Oh
holy
wow.
crap. It's like the river is so wide and it's flowing so much. And then there's a waterfall up there. I forgot what it's called, Montanuska or something like that. Beautiful, coming back down from Idaho, back down to California. You go right next to, in Wyoming, you go next to Yellowstone. You have Yellowstone National Park. You have South Dakota, North Dakota, Great Lakes, Mississippi River, Missouri River. It's like there is so Florida, like the Panhandle, Florida Keys. There's so much in our country, so
Siesta
diverse
Key
in our
Beach, or is it
countries.
Siesta Key Beach? Is that the one?
Um,
There's a beach down there. It's like one of the best beaches in the country.
Probably, yeah, it might be
Yeah.
that, yeah. So there's just so much to see, right? In California, they have lava fields where there's not lava there still, but there's like tunnels and stuff, and it's like molten lava, hardened up above you when you're walking through these caves. If you hit your head on it, you're gonna get a nice cut in your head. But it's like there's so many things to see. We live in such an amazing, diverse country, right? You have the Mojave Desert in California. There's a desert in Oregon on the east coast of Oregon. The west coast of Oregon has trees that are amazing. You have an ocean that's amazing. On the east coast of Oregon, they have a desert, right? It's like there's a desert in Oregon. What's going on, right? There's so much diversity in our country. Like talk about Kansas. Wow, talk about flat land and farmland.
Oh yeah.
Farmland is as far as the eye can see. If you can get those freaking windmills off there, it'd be great.
Yeah.
They don't do anything.
That's a
You,
joke.
you.
I love that scene in Landman where he talks to that girl about the windmills and
I
how
was saying the
bullshit they
exact
are.
same thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I
Yeah.
love it.
But
Yeah,
and
but
then you have shows like that. You have shows like the Landman. You have the same author made the shows. What is it? Yellowstone, right? He made the
yeah.
series Yellowstone, right? That same author. Um,
Hmm.
because he's in different areas of our country that are amazing and beautiful, right?
Hmm.
And we just need to talk about it. We need to talk about how great our country is. And if people understood the freedoms that we have, the God given freedoms that we have,
We have
not
a desert in
because,
Maine.
yeah,
Wayne says. Yeah,
amazing. I didn't know that.
I
Thanks
didn't
for
know it either.
sharing, Wayne.
Yeah.
So, like, wow, that's amazing, right? Because I know there's a lot of forests in Maine. I went hunting and
Oh
fishing
yeah.
with my grandfather up there,
Yeah.
fishing mostly. First
Yeah.
time I caught a fish with grandpa, that was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Keeping the pole out of his hand was a battle in and of itself. Now you got to lay the trout. It's like, wow, okay, Grandpa.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure I can do it, but let me go. So I loved it. I had so much fun up there with Grandpa.
Yeah.
And all the rivers that we went on. You slide down the bottom of the river on your shorts. It's like
Oh
rock
yeah, that one
bottom and
creek that we
smooth
went
as
there.
glass.
Yeah, that was so
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Taylor
Then
Sheridan.
we
Yeah,
jumped
right.
off the bridge at Hart, where's the name of that place where we jumped off the bridge into the river?
I don't
Um
know, but I remember what you're talking about.
oh geez, I can't think of the name of the place. Anyways, Wayne might be able to remember what it is.
Yeah,
Taylor Sheridan, Wayne says. Yeah, that's the
yep.
guy's name that did that. But
But
yeah.
but if we talk about it and we
Hamden. Was it the
understand,
Hamden Bridge?
that might be. It sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think it was.
Anyway,
But anyways.
but if we talk about the freedoms that we have, and people say, well, you can't, religion and politics are two things you can't talk about. You know what? Why we can't talk about religion and politics? Because we haven't in so long. We should be talking about religion and politics. You can have a different religious
Whenever you
belief than
want, if
me,
you want to talk
you
about it,
know.
you should talk about it. That's the
Yeah.
thing, it's just Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
That probably is
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Peacocks. First time I saw a peacock was in Maine, right? I didn't know
Yeah.
what a peacock was, so I saw one in Maine. I'm like, how did I get one of those feathers, right? So there's so much diversity in our country. I personally believe we live in the greatest country in the world, right? And unfortunately, I haven't been to any other country, But Alaska, you want to see some beautiful land? I told my
Oh my
brother and my
God.
sister about Alaska. My sister
Oh my
came and
God.
visited me
So
twice.
beautiful
My
up there.
brother's like, wow, I didn't realize how beautiful it was till we went up there with Dulcie.
I'm a
So
mountain person anyways, and they have
yeah,
beautiful mountains in Alaska.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
And
So
we have them in Tennessee too. They're not like Alaska though.
yeah,
But the ones we
well,
have in Tennessee are pretty darn good. I gotta say that.
yeah, they're really good because they can get snow on them. You live in the what do they call those? Blue Ridge Mountains, right? Blue Ridge Mountains,
No, Smoky Mountains. Blue Ridge
Smoky
is north of
Mountains,
here. It's the same
north.
mountain
Yeah,
range basically. But
southern,
yeah,
more southern than the
yeah.
Blue Ridge. Yeah. So so if we talk about our country and teach our fellow man, we teach our kids. I mean, because this is really what Charlie Kirk did. He went to schools where you have a liberal bastion, and he said, "Prove me wrong." Right?
Yeah.
That was a sign. Prove me wrong. Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, what's this about?" It was on March Stream in Winterport that you slid down. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah.
March, he says.
Marsh.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Marsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but if we understand them, like if I were to ask myself or my brother, what's the Fourth Amendment? I don't know that I'd remember what it is, right? Because I'm thinking, well,
No, but we
I
can
got a
look it
book, I
up,
can look it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like these are the things that Charlie Kirk knew. These are the things that he was
Oh,
teaching
he
kids
could rattle
in
them right off.
colleges.
The guy's
Yeah,
very intelligent. Very intelligent.
because they need to know it. They're not learning it. I loved it when you
Hmm.
go into college, you'd be talking to guys like, "Oh, what's your major?" "Oh, I'm in economics." "Well, have you read any George in Soul or something like that?" I forgot the guy's name. He's like, "No, I haven't read that yet." He goes, "That's the problem." He's like one of the leading economists in the world, and you're
Yeah.
taking an economy class and you haven't even read that. You're not. Do you have any plans of reading that? Well, I'm going to read it on my own, but it's not in a, And then another kid's like, "Oh yeah, I read that." He's like, "Well, what about that?" He goes, "I don't remember what I read. I just read it." Like so,
Right.
so you read it, but you have no idea what you read, right? And it's like, what's the value of that? And it's like it's a push
And
and a drive to help us to become better citizens of the United States of America and
and
be better
and,
human beings all around.
and like I said, I wasn't like a follower of Charlie Kirk, but I think our country needed him, and I'm wondering who's
Yeah,
going to take his spot. And his wife says she's going to keep it going, but I just don't know if there's anybody with his charisma and his knowledge and his what's the word I'm looking for? His
right.
retaining of knowledge
Yeah,
that can do it as well as he did. We will see because the way we were going before he jumped in, they were indoctrinating our children first in
yeah,
high school, then in college, to all be Democrats. And I, I was a Democrat. I never want one party rule. I never want that. It will not turn out well
right.
with one party rule.
Well, look at
We
the
know
state
how
of
it's
California. You can see how that works.
California and New York both are Democratic, completely run. Um, I don't think there's any states that are completely Republican. There are some that are mostly Republican, but not like California and New York are Democratic.
Right.
And I just think if one party has rule, it's eventually it's not going to turn out well. Even if it starts out well, it's not going to
Right.
turn out well.
Right.
Because it's like a dictatorship then. And we know how dictatorships work. We know how that they all eventually, they start well and eventually the power goes their head and then they want all the money and blah, 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 and shit. And it sucks. And then you
Right.
you have a coup or whatever.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we have to have that court of ideas, right? And that's one
Mhm.
of the things I think is amazing about Trump's administration. Bobby Kennedy is in there.
Mhm.
Tulsi Gabbard is in there, and these are people that were hardcore Democrats not 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So Tulsi
So,
Gabbard ran against Joe Biden and
yes.
dissed him and said he's a racist to his
Yes.
face on
Yes.
stage, right?
I liked Tulsi Gabbard when she was a Democrat, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I was very unhappy when she dropped out
yeah. Well, she
back in
got
that
pushed
race.
out. She got
Yeah.
pushed out.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. Um,
yeah, because and then
Oh, I
when
was going to
she
say about Bobby Kennedy. Someone in our family made a post about I will if I was going to follow someone advice who was a
was
heroin
addicted to
addict,
heroin.
I'd follow Keith Richards. Um, and it's funny. But you know what? This is what I say. Bobby Kennedy says this, which is absolutely truth. We have the sickest country in the world,
Yeah,
developed country in the world. We do.
yeah,
Our children are the sickest.
yeah.
Why is that? And at least he's trying to find out. Okay, you may not like what he's doing, but doing it the other way is not working.
Right.
So we got to change it. And I say this about a lot of stuff. It's different. Let's see what happens. Stop with your whining. it wasn't working. Oh, so you want to go back the other way where we're
Well,
all
they want to go
we're
worse.
all all our kids are growing up sick and overweight and whatever. Is that what you want, or do you want to try and change something different, do something different? But here's the problem, and the problem is this: there's so much money in running the
in the
way
drug
it
industry,
was.
yeah.
It's going to be tough to change it. I just hope he
Yeah.
has the longevity. And I told Jeff this the other day. My feeling is that he might not make it through the 4 years because he might be next on the hit list. And I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But he's ruffling a lot of feathers, and the money could be changing hands, and he's taking it away from people, and I God bless him. I hope the best for him, and I hope I'm wrong.
And he never said he's anti-vax. He's just saying like, so what? How are we doing the studies on these? And he asked.
I want to know the
efficacy
of the
Tough
vaccine.
word, I know,
Yes,
I
yes,
barely
because
remember
they've never done any tests to see how they work.
Yeah.
They just make them and say, oh, they work.
Yeah, like the HPV vaccine, right? It's like, what's that for? Well, that's to prevent girls from getting a sexually transmitted disease. So, how are they going to get a sexually transmitted disease at 10?
Right.
So,
but that's money. We got, we already gave it to all the 16, 17-year-olds, so now we got to lower the age. They did the same thing with the COVID vaccine, remember? Oh, the kids don't need it. Kids don't need it. Well, no, now the kids need it.
But here's my dilemma. Let me walk down this road a couple of layers. You can stop me if you want, but I'm going to try to finish, right? So, yep, there you go. Stop. Oh, we're done. So, crash and burn. So you want to have the 10-year-old girls getting this vaccine because you don't want them to get a sexually transmitted disease, right? And you want to allow the same 10-year-old girl to get an abortion because she shouldn't become a mother at 10 years old, 11 years old, but you aren't really interested in finding out who the father of the 10-year-old girl is pregnant from, because that would be wrong, right?
Right.
So it would be a terrible thing if you found out that there's a 33-year-old man who was having sex with a 10-year-old girl and got her pregnant. We don't want to know about that. Because we're not going to tell anybody. We're going to get her and let her have an abortion behind her parents' back, so nobody will ever know, right? But you're not really trying to find out who the guy was. You don't.
But you can't. But she can't get a tattoo behind her parents' back.
Exactly, right? You can get a sex change. You can go and get your breasts removed, right? Which is insane in my mind.
It is so insane.
So let's get your breasts removed at 10 years old and put you on some hormone blockers so you can't go through puberty, so that you can suddenly say, hey, I'm now a man. Which you can't do that because you still have the same XY chromosomes or XX chromosomes. I don't know the science on that, unfortunately, but that's the problem, right? So it's like, dudette, whatever you want to say.
So
Kathy
says this about Bobby Kennedy, and he says people should have the right to say, no, I don't want that vaccine. Yeah. And if, let's just say if, and I don't know what let's just say if you don't get the vaccine, but your neighbor does get the vaccine, and you get the disease because you didn't have the vaccine.
Right.
You can't give it to your neighbor if the vaccine is efficacy, whatever the hell that word.
If the efficacy of the vaccine is good,
then you can't give it to them. So what are they worried about?
Because you didn't get it, and you should. That's why they're pissed, because you didn't get the vaccine.
Right. So you didn't spend the money. That's it. Yeah. It's all about the money. It's all about. Anyways, we're like an hour.
One other thing that my wife said that before we go, I want to repeat it.
Okay.
She said we're talking about the greatness of our country, right? Another place that's here, it's in southern Utah, which is where the assassination young person came from, is Zion National Park, right?
Oh, okay.
And there's a ton of parks in that area besides Zion that are amazing. If you look up Zion National Park and you look at, like the arches and the bridges and all these other different national parks, they're all in that same area. Right?
Yeah.
Within about 30 or 40 miles of each other, right? So that's another place, and it's desert land for the most part, right? That's another place that's beautiful in our country. These are the places where John Wayne shot his early movies. The old Western movies came from these places. Arizona, Utah, Wyoming.
Mhm.
You know, all these places is where some of these early movies are shot. We're like, wow, it's really beautiful there. Yeah.
You know what I heard on
because-
Joe Rogan today? He was talking.
Oh.
He was talking to what's that comedian with the big red hair?
Oh, it is Red. What's his name? It's just yeah, Carrot Top.
Carrot Top. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Which
talking to him, and
nobody
he
talks
said,
about anymore.
he says, you know how John Wayne got cancer?
Yeah, from one of his movies.
Yeah, they were doing a movie out where
bomb.
they dropped the atomic bombs, and a whole bunch of people on that set got cancer.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the wind blew their direction, blew all that nuclear waste into their area where they were filming.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how he got cancer. Yep. Yeah.
I did not know that, and I still don't know it's absolute truth, but maybe it is. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
I've known that for a while. Hey, look,
Yeah.
we both just lost our feet. It was great. So,
No, now you're back. Now you're back.
Yeah, now we're back. Anyway. Yeah, so
All right, brother.
It's the end. 6 hours, 6:21, an hour and 21 minutes. If we did 6 hour show, that'd be kind of amazing. But anyway,
Would be amazing.
that would be
I don't
great.
know if we could put up with each other for that long, but Anyway.
Hey, my camera froze again, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's time to go. All right,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank God for you coming by here. I want to thank God for our country and our first responders, our military. They are amazing. Even ask the people in Washington D.C. They'll know how they'll be thanking God for the civility that they now have and the low crime rates they have in Washington D.C. Thanks to our military because
Coming to Memphis pretty soon, I hear.
Yeah, hopefully that's what I hear. Yeah. Coming to a city near you, maybe Chicago, and just saying.
And please, God, put your arms around the Kirk family and take care of them in their hour of need. And
bless them indeed and keep them safe and comfort them, Lord. Now this time. Yeah. It's
God bless everybody for
yes.
listening to us, and everybody who's not listening to us.
Yeah.
God bless everybody, and
Hopefully
please,
you'll listen to
everybody,
us soon.
be more
Civil.
be civil towards other people.
Ask questions.
Don't-
ask questions. Don't
Don't
get angry. Just
don't
ask
get
questions.
angry because they disagree. Me and my brother do it all the time, and we get angry, but we immediately are like, okay, brother, love you.
Yeah.
We're done.
Or 20 minutes later, whatever.
Or 20 minutes later, whatever it takes. Yeah.
But the reality is we've learned in the last 5 years, I'd say, to how to say, you know what, you get a different opinion of me and I don't have to like it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Just like we were having different opinions about whether or not Barack Obama's a Muslim or a Christian.
He's a Christian, so
Yeah, I think he's a Muslim, but
whatever.
All
right, man. God bless y'all.
God bless America. Thanks you for coming by. And if you watch it later, subscribe to our show. Send us an email or link, or spread us around there. Maybe we can grow this company, this organization, the Rick and Jeff Unfiltered to a national show. It'd be great because we really love America. We love America.
We do.
God bless you all. God bless America.
Good night, everybody.